Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 News at 5.
Coming up tonight, a rally promoting the legalization of marijuana was at the state capitol today.
And this comes on the same day that hip-hop star Snoop Dogg is performing at PBA. But first,
thank you all for what you do for the people of Nebraska, the sacrifices you make, the hard work you put in, and congratulations on the great success that you have had in this historic second session of the 107th Nebraska Legislature.
Governor Ricketts applauds senators for their hard work as they wrap up this legislative session. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. The governor did not veto any of the most recent bills, so senators did not have anything to override.
instead, they spent the morning honoring two former senators who have passed away. Channel 8's Ariana Martinez was there. She joins us now with more. Ariana?
Many senators will now take some time off to celebrate their accomplishments that they made this session. But before all of that, they took the time to honor and remember two former senators who died recently.
In the last couple of days, we've really received some very sad news. Former Senator Brad Ashford, as well as former Senator Dennis Byers, passed away.
Senators who had the privilege to know these men personally took time to honor and remember them.
We lost a dear friend and a true public servant. As you know, Brad Ashford passed away yesterday. I was fortunate to call Brad a friend and a colleague. I rise today to honor my friend.
Brad was a giant, a gentle giant, absent-minded professor. That's the best way to describe Brad, but a policy wonk 100% through and through.
Senator Lathrop and McAllister recently presented former Senator Ashford with a resolution signed by all current senators, thanking him for his public service.
And I have to tell you how much he appreciated that. He appreciated the recognition, but he also appreciated that every last one of you signed off on that resolution, and it meant so very much to Brad.
Former Senator Dennis Byers was laid to rest recently, and he was also remembered for the time he spent serving the state of Nebraska.
Denny Byers was currently serving on the Gage County Board, was an active member there until his health the last month or two didn't allow him to do that. But he often talked to me about his service up here in this chamber.
Many reflected on the impact their decisions had on the state.
For the state of Nebraska to have two servants that did as good a job as they did, we are so lucky to have them, and we thank both of them for giving their time and their family to serve this great state.
Now, after senators take a day off tomorrow to recharge, Friday we will have a full overview of how this session went, the highlights, things we will see next year return, and what changes we will see because of the session.
All right, an emotional day at the state capitol. Ariana Martinez, thank you for the reports. And Brad Ashford and Dennis Byers were not the only ones to be honored at the legislature this morning.
A resolution unanimously passed today for the Nebraska legislature to honor fallen Elwood Volunteer Fire Chief Darren Kroll. He was killed 2 weeks ago tomorrow while responding to the Gosper and Furnace County fires.
44 ayes, no nays on adoption of LR.
The legislature honors Darren D. Kroll for making the ultimate sacrifice while serving as a volunteer first responder. That the legislature offers its condolences to the family of Darren D. Kroll. That a copy of this resolution be sent to the family of Darren D. Kroll.
A bill called Line of Duty Death passed this legislative session. It'll increase what families of the fallen receive from the current $50,000 to $250,000. With about 13,000 firefighters across the state, many of them are rural volunteer firefighters. We also have an update on that fire that led to Chief Kroll's death.
That's right. We're told the blaze is now about 80% contained. Officials said this is due to trees in the Elk Creek corridor and surrounding areas that were burned but are still standing. Also, large corn piles continue to be a problem, and a lot of ditches in the burn path also have hot spots. Well, today is April 20th, known as 420. Two marijuana enthusiast advocates rallied out in front of the state capitol all afternoon.
Some were petitioning for medical marijuana, while others say weed should be legal in all forms.
I am a criminal in this state for not wanting to be an opioid addict.
There are so many people in this state that need this as an option. It's our job as Nebraskans, as humans, as fellow, neighbors, to rise to the occasion and get this done.
Leah Post and Krista Eggers spent today gathering signatures for two ballot initiatives that would allow patients to be able to talk to a doctor to see if medical marijuana is an option for them, and the other would establish a commission to regulate businesses that provide marijuana to patients, but others think it should be legal in all forms.
We're here to just celebrate, play some music, and just talk about cannabis reform. People need that freedom of cannabis. It's already here and the usage it's here.
Farmer Bill is a recreational cannabis advocate who decided to hold a rally in front of the Capitol as well today to welcome Snoop Dogg to Lincoln. He says he uses cannabis to manage pain, but thinks it should be legal in all forms here in Nebraska. And I just mentioned it, hip-hop star Snoop Dogg is in Lincoln tonight for his annual 420 concert.
Snoop Dogg doesn't shy away, as we all know, from his use of marijuana. Well, when asked what will happen if Snoop lights up on stage tonight, Lincoln police said, quote, he'll be one of 10,000 people there who do. And Governor Ricketts even chimed in on what is expected tonight.
But I do recall from my younger days that smoking marijuana at a concert is not brand new to this year or to Snoop Dogg. That has happened in the past at concerts.
And Snoop is taking the stage with country artist Co Wetzel at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The concert starts tonight at 8 o'clock.
The interim Fillmore County Sheriff was in court this morning in Seward County.
He faces a charge of driving under the influence. Seward County deputies say Steve Julich crashed his truck back in March and was then arrested.
Here, please, not guilty.
All right, is that correct, Mr. Julich? You wish to enter not guilty plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Julich is now requesting a trial by jury. He's been with the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office for 17 years now and was sworn in as interim sheriff back in November. He has been planning to run for a full term this year. His pre-trial hearing is now scheduled for June 8th in Seward County. Well, there was a puzzling crash that happened today at the intersection of Highway 2 and 27th Street.
According to Lincoln Fire and Rescue, there were some challenges responding to this crash.
The heavy traffic, and it's wet and it's a little bit gloomy, and people are using their windshield wipers, so just to kind of get control of the scene and how spread out it was, it kind of took a little bit of time, but we were able to kind of divide and conquer, and we got to all of the different vehicles and people.
Officials say one vehicle T-boned another car just after noon. One person was taken to the hospital, but with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say it appears one of the vehicles failed to yield and then hit the other, but police are still investigating what exactly happened. The streets are all back open.
All right, as we heard, yeah, it was a little wet today. We're going to see the rain. I think the shade of my grass has turned about too darker.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't enough rain for what we really could use. At best, we were measuring it in hundredths of an inch. Some of you may have been measuring it in raindrops instead, because there just wasn't a whole lot of it out there. I can show you right now, as we take a live look from the station to the northwest, you can see the sun is beginning to pop out in some locations, and that's visible as well on the visible satellite imagery. Lincoln stuck under the clouds for a lot of the day, but late afternoon we started to see those clouds beginning to break, and you head out towards York and Seward and Grand Island and Hastings, even down towards Red Cloud, and you've seen sunshine all afternoon, and that's where temperatures are warmer. It's 72 in Hastings, 72 degrees in Grand Island, 71 in Hebron, 63 the temperature in Lincoln. That's our high temperature for the day, and I suspect that temperature will keep going up a few more degrees before the day is over because, again, we're seeing a little bit of sunshine before sunset this evening. As to how much rain we picked up today, again, not very much. 400ths of an inch of rain in Lincoln, 400ths of an inch in Hastings. We could definitely use a lot more than that. By the way, if you're heading out to the baseball game this evening, first pitch at 6:35 against between Nebraska and North Dakota State. Looking pretty nice. 64 degrees at 6 o'clock, 64 at 7, and 62 degrees by 8 o'clock tonight with clear skies. We'll keep clear skies around the area tonight. We are tracking warmer temperatures and a chance for a few thunderstorms. when those arrive, coming up in my Storm Alert Team forecast.
All right, thank you, John. Well, today, more signs Russia is gearing up for a more intense phase of the war.
Its military announcing a test launch of a new missile that U.S. defense officials say is newer and larger than the ones before it. ABC's Justin Finch is following the developments in Washington.
Russia's defense ministry releasing new video Wednesday claiming to show an airstrike on Ukrainian facilities. ABC News has not independently verified that claim. Ukrainian forces in hard-hit Mariupol fear losing control of the city in just days. Ukraine's President Zelensky saying his troops defending the Mariupol steelworks while allegedly sheltering about 1,000 civilians won't surrender.
The receding Russian tide from Bucha revealed what was left in its wake in terms of death, destruction, atrocities. We can only anticipate that this tide also at some point recedes from Mariupol. We're going to see far worse.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is praising the launch of the new nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile, saying it should make those who threaten Russia think twice. A senior U.S. defense official condemning Putin's rhetoric given the war in Ukraine, though the Pentagon called the test routine. In Washington, the White House is working on providing hundreds of millions more in military aid for Ukraine. If approved, the new aid would come on top of the $800 million aid package the president signed off on just last week, which included 18 howitzer artillery systems, 11 Mi-17 helicopters, and 200 M113 personnel carriers. In all, the U.S. has already committed more than $2.5 billion in aid to Ukraine's military since the war started. To bolster Ukraine's efforts, the U.S. and other nations have already given nearly 70,000 anti-tank weapons to Ukraine, as well as roughly 30,000 shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
Still to come on the news tonight, New Mexico officials with a scathing report concerning the Rust movie death.
The latest details on the investigation coming your way next.
Follow your adventures with the
Now to the shooting on the movie set of Rust that resulted in the death of cinematographer Haley Hutchins and injured the director.
The New Mexico officials there handing down the maximum possible fine, saying safety procedures were not being followed on set. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the details.
More than 6 months after the film set shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins, Rust Movie Productions now facing consequences. Workplace safety regulators in New Mexico releasing the findings of their months-long investigation, finding the company demonstrated plain indifference to employees' safety and knew that firearm safety procedures were not being followed.
We issued the maximum possible fine of $136,793 to the company. This fine was assessed against the legal entity Rust Production, LLC, not specific individuals.
The nearly 11-page report detailed a scathing narrative of safety failures and violations, including testimony that production managers took limited to no action to address 2 misfires on set prior to the fatal shooting, and violations of guidelines that prohibit the use of live ammunition or employees pointing a firearm at anyone except after consultation with the armorer or prop master. The Bureau also listing multiple gun safety complaints from crew members that were ignored.
If standard industry practices were followed, the fatal shooting of Helena Hutchins and the serious injury to Joel Souza would not have occurred.
The attorney for the film's armorer, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who's also filed a lawsuit against the movie production, releasing a statement saying, quote, critically, OSHA has also determined that production failed to call Hannah in to perform her armorer duties and inspect the firearm right before its use in an impromptu scene with Baldwin. Rust Movie Productions refuting OSHA's findings, saying, quote, while we appreciate OSHA's time and effort in its investigation, we disagree with its findings and plan to appeal. And meanwhile, the criminal investigation still underway in New Mexico, with the district attorney there saying that charges are possible. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist John Dessauer.
At least in the Lincoln area today, it was a cool, dreary day for a big part of the day, and then all of a sudden in the last hour and a half or so the sun has begun to pop out. That's also the case down towards Beatrice, where we are seeing sun coming down. We're seeing some shadows coming off of the light post there along South 6th Street. We take you up towards Honda of Lincoln as we look off to the south and west, and you can see skies clearing very quickly this evening. So we're still getting a few hours of some warming, so we should see our temperature going up a few more degrees before we start to see the daytime highs being achieved. But you can see this satellite imagery, all the clouds that we had in place for a good part of the day. Now, just as expected, we'd see a lot of sunshine out towards the Tri-Cities where the clouds broke earlier for you. Same out towards York and towards Columbus. And you can see as you go back into the western part of the state, not a whole lot in the way of cloud cover. Some cumulus clouds up over the northern part of the state and a few more clouds out towards northeastern Colorado. Temperature-wise, it's kind of interesting to look at. Again, where the sun is at, it's warmer. Where it's cooler, or where the clouds have been longer, that's where it is cooler. And that's why we show you these temperatures around the area. 60 degrees in Wymore, it's 64 now in Beatrice. But look at Fairbury, up to 67 degrees. You take up into Lancaster County, clouds around a little bit longer in Firth, where it's 57 now. 63 at the airport officially, but Branch Oak Lake at 64. Look at Seward, already jumping up to 68 degrees. It's 67 in Milford, 71 in Friend and Utica. Low 70s now in York, where it's 72. And head further west out towards Hastings at 72 degrees, and 72 degrees right now in Grand Island. For the rest of this evening, our temperatures will drop. It will not be as warm as it was this morning. We only saw a low temperature of 51 degrees in Lincoln, so we're likely to see our temperatures dropping down into the 30s. So a little cooler tomorrow, but not terribly cold, not like it was yesterday morning where we saw temperatures down into the lower and mid-20s. Now for tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies. Stormcast is suggesting we may see a little bit of fog in some of the areas that we saw some showers this morning, as there may be just enough low-level moisture to do that, and we're not going to have much in the way of wind as we go through the overnight hours. By noon, mostly sunny skies. Now as we head towards the mid-afternoon, I think we'll start to see clouds increasing from the south, and you can see that by 5 o'clock with temperatures in the lower to mid-70s. We'll see highs 73 in Lincoln, 74 in Beatrice, 74 in Grand Island, up to 76 in Kearney. Winds tomorrow out of the east, 5 to 15 sustained, gusting to 30 miles per hour, so we can't get by without a day where I can't call it windy tomorrow, because that will be the case. Now, tomorrow evening, we are going to watch for the potential for some showers to begin to move north into the state along a warm front. We may pop a few thunderstorms with us as well late tomorrow night into early Friday morning, and you can see some of the yellows returns showing up on there. So not everybody getting rain, unfortunately, but there will be a chance for some showers as we go through Thursday night into Friday morning. And the Storm Prediction Center is even indicating there is a slight risk of severe weather, again, along that warm front as it lifts off to the north, with the best chance being down along the Kansas-Nebraska state line, the main threat being some hail with some of these thunderstorms. On Friday evening, we're going to watch for another chance for some showers and thunderstorms developing, especially out in the central part of the state. We'll see mostly sunny skies by Friday afternoon. Temperatures jumping into the upper 80s, lower and mid 90s as you head out towards the central part of the state. And we'll get just enough heat, and we'll get a few showers and thunderstorms developing as we head into the evening hours. So that's something we'll be watching there as well for the potential for some stronger to severe thunderstorms. 89 degrees for a high temperature on Friday. Some of you may be in the low to mid 90s, I think, Friday afternoon. 81 with some scattered showers possible in the morning and maybe a thunderstorm towards the evening. Turning cooler for the second half of the weekend as a cold front finally passes through. Then we'll see temperatures back in the low 60s through Tuesday. And then perhaps some of the long-range models are starting to suggest we could see some warmer temperatures by the end of next week, with highs back in the 70s to near 80 degrees.
Yeah, it definitely warmed up today and felt, more sticky and humid like spring.
Those morning showers evaporating up, and you can feel it up into the air.
Yeah, seriously though, did you see the color of the grass? We're going to have to start mowing here in a few days, I think.
Maybe. All right, thanks, John. A split day on Wall Street, the Dow gaining 250 points, but the NASDAQ falling about 167 points. Here's some of your local numbers as well. You're watching Channel 8, Nebraska's trusted news source.
Night after the powerful testimonies.
Get to the bottom of what happened.
The January 6th investigation has begun. What happens next? Plus, the new mask guidelines. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is the #1 program on all of television.
I'm Teresa Thibodeau, pro-life conservative running for governor. People tell me they want a governor who listens and focuses on issues that matter to them. Education, tax reform,
Shoppers at an Indiana Walmart were not in the market for a snake, but they found one anyway.
That's right. This guy, now named Wolverine, was just sitting on a shelf in the store this past week, you know, looking for his forever home. The city of Bloomingdale Animal Care and Control took him to a shelter. Now, it's unclear how he got into the store, but yeah, now he is up for adoption if you're in the Bloomington area and would like a snake. The agency says he's a bit stressed and is still getting used to being handled.
What a surprise if you're shopping and you reach for something. Oh my.
Oh, look what's behind the milk today.
You know, the funny thing is, so being from Indiana, Bloomington's right on the edge of the state forest. So I'm not terribly surprised to see a snake sneaking its way into a store in Bloomington, but that's still a pretty big snake.
Yeah, no, not what I'm in the market for.
No, definitely not at all.
Not why you went there.
Nope.
Not even on the clearance aisle.
Nope, no thank you. I'll pass.
Hey, if you're heading out this evening, temperatures are still warming up. We're probably going to get another 3 or 4 degrees before we hit the highs of the day and before temperatures start to drop. But right now we're sitting in the 60s in Lincoln, 70s out towards the Tri-Cities. If you want to go out to a baseball game this evening, the Huskers are hosting North Dakota State. Not looking too bad. 64 degrees at 6, 64 at 7, 62 at 8, and the sun's popping out just in time for the game. So it won't be too bad out there. Maybe by the time the game is ending, temperatures into the middle to upper 50s.
All right, thank you, John. We're out of time, and like a snake, we're going to slither on out of here for now.
Very nice. Have a great night. We'll see you at 6.
With the Channel 8 Eyewitness News mobile app, you'll be the first to know. Get alerts about breaking news and weather, all in the palm of your hand.
The Jalapeno Popper Frenchie, creamy and crunchy in each delicious bite. Enjoy this bold new taste or the timeless original, Frenchies at Amigos King's Classic.
Closed captioning